today's webinar is The Power of Mind, Become a Master Problem Solver by Mr. Sanchit Gupta. Mr. Sanchit Gupta is the committee member of Amritsar Founders. He did his bachelor's in civil engineering from the University of Toronto in 2017. He has founded two companies, PlatePay and Unibrick, and currently fully working at Unibrick Industries. Problem solving and challenging the status quo has always been his driving spirit, and hence become the basis for his entrepreneurial journey. Sanchit left his successful career stint back in Canada to come to India and do his bit to reverse the brain drain. He has also written scripts for music videos, short movies, and featured films under production. His short film Unsaid won the debut award at IFFSA Toronto 2018, International Film Festival of South Asia. So guys, we will be taking the question answers in the last segment of webinar. So I kindly request everybody to type their questions in the chat section. So with this, we'll start with the webinar. Over to you, Sanchit.
Thank you, Rajat, for such a lovely introduction. Hi, everybody. My name is Sanchit Gupta, and I'm the MD of Unibrick Industries. I've been a part of Amritsar Founders for past 3 to 4 months, and I have thoroughly enjoyed my time over here. And being part of such a podium and being able to address so many people around is really a thing of honor for me. So the topic for my today's webinar is the power of mind. How to become a master problem solver. हमारी लाइफ में we have so many problems all around, be it the problems in our relationships, be it the problem of in our society, or maybe आपके काम के अंदर in your business, or different kind of problems that we face on a regular basis, and we are doing problem solving inherently. Subconsciously हम problem solving कर ही जा रहे हैं, हर चीज का एक हम कुछ तोड़ ढूंढते हैं, नहीं मिलता तो किसी से पूछ के ढूंढते हैं. So what goes behind it, what's the framework of it, what's the map work of your brain, how it turns a situation, a problem, into bite-sized, easy to solvable solutions, and how do we act accordingly. It's one of the strongest and the most useful power that we possess. Mind power is composed of our attention, of our experiences, of our mental images, and of our thoughts. And thoughts are energy. Though subtle and invisible, just like the wind, but they can actually affect the reality. They are really powerful. So your mind and your thoughts, whatever you manifest, it actually does come true if you manifest into the universe. Most of us in our life, we go through taking little notice of our thought processes, how the mind thinks, what it fears, what it heeds, what it says to itself, what it brushes aside. For the most part, we go about with our lives with minimal attention paid to how we think. हमने किसी चीज का decision लिया, or be it as small as कि we are feeling hungry, now we want to have a sandwich. This was the entire thought process chain जो हमने within a fraction of a second इसका decision ले लिया, and we did that action, we had sandwich. We go through life neglecting one of the most important and powerful forces in our life, our thinking capabilities and our thoughts. So let's delve into the 6 processes that I've laid out for you guys, and whichever floats your boat, you can choose one of those processes and help in better decision making. The first one is creative thinking. What is creative thinking? It is a process of looking at problems or situations from a very fresh perspective that suggests unorthodox situations. So let's say out of the box sochna. You're not limited by the biases around you. You're not limited by the rationality around you. You're not limited by if it will work or not. But it's just thinking out loud. जो भी कुछ भी आपके दिमाग में आ रहा है, what could actually solve the problem? For example, there's a roadblock. एक रोड पे आपको उसको कवर करना है, एक आपका पटल बना हुआ है, तो उसको कवर करने के कितने वेज हो सकते हैं? This one way could be you can actually lay out the asphalt on it, which is actually the right way. The other could be you could actually fill it with foam. It also works. Foam laga lo ji. You could also fill it up with a ply. It would work. The other out of the box solution would be don't use the road. किसी और road से चले जाओ भाई. वो road ना use करो. So these are creative thinking. So you list out a set of exhaustive solutions, mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive solutions to a problem, and this is called creative thinking. It requires a specific knowledge, skills, and attitude. So another part जो इसके साथ ही fold in होता है वो है critical thinking का. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking is basically a process जो intellectually derived process है. आप you think about different things by analyzing and conceptualizing all the information that's around there. You apply that to your solution. आप synthesize करते हैं कि what's all out there, इसमें data आएगा, इसके अंदर what's established वो आएगा, and आपको information जो भी gather होती है from your sources, from your library, from internet, or by observation, experience, reasoning, जो भी आपके अंदर preconceived notions है, आप इसमें डाल सकते हैं, and critically आप किसी चीज को examine करेंगे, and that leads to a belief and an action. So basically, a sound thinking is a combination of critical thinking and creative thinking, which is imagination, that is the creative thinking, plus intellectual standards, which is the critical thinking. So as we discussed, creative thinking is usually generative. You generate a lot of ideas, and it's non-judgmental. No one's judging you. You just put it out there. Whatever would solve the problem. जो मर्जी हो आपने इसको rationalize नहीं करना. It's expansive in nature. So when you're thinking creatively, we are generating a list of a lot of new ideas. It's a part of divergent thinking. You diverge your mind processes, and then that's how you get a list of exhaustive solutions. Whereas critical thinking is, I would say, is an inverted funnel. You're very analytical, you're very judgmental, you're selective. क्योंकि आपके पास एक metrics होता है जिसके accordingly आपने कुछ solve करना है. So when you are thinking critically, you're making choices, and it's a part of convergent thinking. Now let's look at this example. हर एक के पास we have a lot of chargers. We have a phone का charger, we have AirPods chargers, and we have a MacBook charger, computer chargers, and different kind of leads and all. So how do you tangle them? So this one thing that I found on the internet, it was a very useful way. It's a very do-it-yourself DIY way of actually making charger stands. कुछ लगा नहीं. It's just for 20 rupees में आपने इतना अच्छा अपना stand बना लिया. Similarly, if you want a holder for your different things, this is one of the guys did that, and I think it's very creative. It's out of the box solutions, and this is how we can apply what we devise, जो हम सोचते हैं, जो हम किस तरह से हम उसको easy to solvable pieces में divide कर सकते हैं. Now एक puzzle देता हूँ. The goal of the puzzle is to link all the 9 dots using 4 straight lines or maybe fewer without lifting a pen and without tracing the same line more than once. अब मुझे पता है, since we're doing a live session and this webinar, and I cannot see your answers on this, and I cannot see how you go about it. But then again, I'll give you a couple of seconds just to think about it. कैसे करोगे? आप माइंड में एक मैपिंग कर लो कि किस तरह से कर सकते हो, और उसका हिंट आपको देता हूँ. The hint is to think out of the box. Let's go to the next one. It's basically thinking out of the box. You extend a line outside the box, and that's how you figure your way out. You start from the topmost line, you go all the way towards the end, you come down slanting way, and then you just follow the trail. So thinking out of the box is something that requires removal of all your biases, all your preconceived notions. Just forget everything and write out what a layman would write. That's thinking out of the box. We have to ask questions. The answer is not always in the solution. questions में we have to ask the right questions. Smart questions जो होंगे वो आपकी प्रॉब्लम को बेटर डिफाइन कर सकते हैं और आपको एक क्लियर वे देंगे कि which way to go into solving this problem. We have to stay in the question, which means we have to be okay with the ambiguous. So fine, मान लेते हैं हमें नहीं कुछ चीजें पता, we don't know the answers of this yet. We have to agree that we do not know the answers of this yet and be okay with ambiguity. Means being open to the possible. Now we'll just see how. So whenever a problem is occurring, we have to follow this rule, ask why 5 times. For example, in your factory, a machine has stopped. You ask your supervisor, you ask your production guy, like, what happened? Why has the machine stopped? Maybe a fuse blew because of an overload. Okay, why was there an overload? There wasn't enough lubrication for the bearings. Okay, why wasn't there enough lubrication? Maybe the pump wasn't pumping enough. Why wasn't lubricant being pumped? Maybe the pump shaft was vibrating as a result of abrasion. Why was there abrasion? Because there was no filter allowing chips of material into the pump. तो सोल्यूशन इसका सिंपल ये निकला कि हमने उसको तोड़ लिया हर चीज में भी broke that into easy to chew nuggets. ये क्यों हुआ, इसका रीजन ये क्यों हुआ, and then चल गया पता है we have to install a filter that solves the problem. So that filter, which is a mechanical issue, it actually caused the fuse to blow because of an overload. इसने electrical issue create कर दिया. So sometimes problems बहुत छोटी सी होती हैं, we don't realize that. These are powerful questions. What seems to be the trouble? You have to go to the depth of it. What concerns you the most about XYZ, about let's say your production not being at the highest level, or maybe about your staff not being responsive enough. What is holding you back from XYZ? Attaining XYZ amount of sales. Getting this much of your top line growth. What seems to be a main obstacle to do this? जब आप ये लिस्ट आउट कर लेते हैं, you ask all the WH questions: why, how, when, what, where. You have to break this down ताकि आप इसको solve कर सकें. This is all part of critical thinking. आप एक चीज को critically सोच रहे हैं. Now we'll go to the next slide जो है divergent thinking. Divergent thinking is a part of creative thinking. The best way to have good idea is to have lots of them, and then always we throw away the bad ones. So that way we'll get a exhaustive list of what all solutions out there, and we can discuss that with the team, and whatever the bad ones, whatever the irrelevant ones, then we can apply a critical thinking approach to it, and jot one out जो हमारे काम करता है. There are simple rules for divergent thinking, which also forms part of creative thinking, that we have to find as many as possible solutions. Quantity is way more important than quality, especially for this one. We have to be flexible. जिस तरह का question आए, we have to be flexible in different kinds of whatever the possible solutions there might be. Originality as unique as possible. We have to be spontaneous, playful, childlike. Basically, एक environment create कर सकते हैं हम in our teams, whenever we are at our office, whenever we are at a workplace, where we can play a game, we can play like a divergent thinking game. एक problem solve करनी है कि हमारे पास XYZ sales क्यों नहीं हो रही, क्या क्या solutions कर सकते हैं. Solutions कर सकते हैं हम इसकी होर्डिंग्स लगा सकते हैं, solution कर सकते हैं हम marketing कर सकते हैं social media. हम solutions ये है कि हम door to door marketing कर सकते हैं. Solutions ये होते हैं लोगों को पकड़ के बिठा के हम कहेंगे कि लो ये भी solution है. Obviously it's not a viable solution. You can't be aggressive when you're selling stuff. But then again, it forms a part of very interactive process जो आप अपने workplace में डाल सकते हैं. And you have to encourage wild ideas. There's no pressure. There's no criticism or anything. We just need a constructive work hour. जब सारे इकट्ठे हो गए, we actually think of the solutions. The third one is convergent thinking. So convergent thinking, it forms part of critical thinking, as I said. You have to come up, it's an inverted funnel. So you have a lot of filters in the top, rationality, if it'll work or not, economics of it, viability of it, feasibility of it, durability of it. And then through that, we come up with a single well established answer to a problem. So this can be clubbed with divergent thinking. Once we have generated a lot of, let's say, solutions or potential solutions from divergent thinking, हम एक convergent thinking use करके उसको एक inverted funnel में डाल के we can put all our metrics inside, and then we can find a couple of 1 2 3 maybe 4 solutions which are potential solutions to our problem. And these all things do not take a lot of time. Our brain processes these things in a matter of seconds. And we just going into detail of it, how the functioning behind the brain and how the functioning behind your mind is. So what how should we go with the convergent thinking? Let's look at this. After the process of divergent thinking, जो हमारे ideas and information है, we have to organize and structure them using convergent thinking, which I just told you, using our metrics, using our whatever the objectives are, using whatever our functions and objectives are. So these go hand in hand. Divergent thinking, creative thinking, they go hand in hand. You cannot just rely on divergent thinking. You cannot just rely on convergent thinking. The fourth part of this is the brainstorming, and I feel this is the most important part. Brainstorming is not about reaching results. It's about again generating as many ideas. Just throwing on top of each other, and it forms an important process of problem solving. What are the rules for brainstorming? This is something that we encourage in our organization, and we have like stickers all around that there are no dumb ideas. A brainstorming session, a fun session hona chahiye. You can just have your team around you. You can just have, let's say, call it a pizza party, and then just throw random solutions to your problem. Maybe it could be a technical problem. Maybe it could be any problem which you face in a enterprise level. It does not matter कि आप serious solutions ही लें. You have to keep it playful. So sometimes उस playful session में से ही कभी कभार इतने crazy ideas निकल जाते हैं जो when we apply, they can be easily multipliable, scalable, and you get recognized for that. It's a very fun tool, brainstorming. And the other part is very important part. We do not have to criticize other people's ideas. There is no criticism of anything, of any sort involved. एक debate नहीं है, एक discussion, a forum, एक heated वो नहीं है. It's a participatory, I would say, forum, जहाँ पे everybody is equal, no one superior, and everybody is putting a lot of effort in giving different solutions. This is something that we do in our foundation, in our organization as well, Amritsar Founders. Whenever we have an event coming up, or whenever we have any, let's say, problem coming up, or any ideas that we need to generate of some, or something of those sorts, we actively involve ourselves in brainstorming sessions, which are very chill, which are very usually, everybody hears each other. No one is, criticizing anyone. हर एक के views माने जा रहे हैं. Although वो apply हो ना हो, that's the second thing. But we are actually getting a lot of this exhaustive list of solutions. We have to build on other people's ideas. कभी कभार क्या होता है, you have an idea which is suggested by one person, and if you think it's a pretty sick idea, and how you go about that, you build on that on top of that idea. So that's also part of idea. So basically, two people are working towards a solution. So it's a very collaborative environment, brainstorming. And a lot of people, they don't encourage, especially I've seen in Indian working cultures and working environments, that especially in traditional businesses and conventional businesses, there's not a lot of importance on meetings. There's not a lot of importance on uh, idea generation or brainstorming. there's always like either my way or the highway, or we have known this thing, we have been doing this thing since so long, and we followed this line and whatnot. So we're gonna continue with this way. So I think this is where the lack of uh, I would say creativity comes into business. How do you evolve? How do you put yourself out of this league? नहीं तो how do you keep your competition at par or at bay? उसको आप पास ना लगने दीजिए. So you have to have a periodic um, idea generation process, and I highly encourage that in all enterprises, and especially in schools, and जहाँ पे भी एक team काम करती है. So we have to reverse the thought of quality over quantity. Over here, we want quantity. The more creative ideas, the better. Does not matter कौन सा idea है, किस तरह से है. आपको we just need the quantity of the idea. Later on, हम इसको देखेंगे, if it floats a boat or not, and but we need to have exhaustive list of ideas. Brainstorming is a good method, but sometimes you might have some problems. And yes, there are problems. Sometimes your team might feel that no one realizes what a genius idea I propose. What's going on? What is this? Why are they not listening to me? I think I have more knowledge on this thing. And is there a better way than argument? How could we avoid conflicts in a team? Because sometimes things get heated. And you might feel dejected. They're not listening to my idea. Even though I'm explaining it, perfect way in the most logical argument I'm giving. What's happening. So these are things that we have to avoid. So इसके if we have good team culture, if we inculcate team spirit, collective collaborative working attitude, उससे बहुत ज़्यादा फायदा मिलेगा हमें. And because the main crux यही है कि आपको इसमें किसी को neglect नहीं करना. आपको किसी को you don't have to criticize, you don't have to one up each other. It's just a matter of generating as many solutions possible किसी भी problem के लिए, किसी भी दिक्कत के लिए. The last one is actually alternate thinking. और भी thinking के ways हैं. There's one called perceptual thinking. As the name suggests, it's very much like how we perceive things. It's also called concrete thinking. It's very individual, I would say, perceptual thinking. How I think about a problem may totally differ with how someone else thinks about the problem. And ये आपकी team में बहुत ज़्यादा matter करता है. And why do we have different solutions to the same problem? Maybe because they are generating from whatever past experiences that we have, whatever projects that we might have done, whatever work experience that we might have, whatever individual biases that we have, and it's very unique to every person. आप एप्पल ऐसे काटो या फिर एप्पल ऐसे काटो, एप्पल तो कट ही रहा है. हर एक का वे है कि किस तरह से कोई कर सकता है. So in this perceptual thinking, we also bring in facts, logic, arguments. We analyze, we evaluate, we critique, we judge from our own position. No one else is guiding us. There's no principle. There's no like a Bible to this. It's how I perceive things. मुझे लगता है कि ऐसा हो. It's that thing. So this also stems up from our self-confidence. It boosts that self-esteem. हमारी boost करता है. For example, अगर मुझे लगता है कि ये idea काम करेगा, and idea ये काम कर जाता है, तो आपकी self-esteem, self-confidence जरूर बढ़ता है. And the thing is, आपकी team का morale बहुत सही रहता है. And that person जिसका idea आपने use किया है, वो तो मतलब he feels very appreciated. A part of this is parallel thinking. What is parallel thinking? It means getting everyone focused on using the same thinking tool at the time. You give them same metrics, you give them same sort of tools to work around with. Each person puts forward their ideas in parallel with the thoughts, and the other people, without other people attacking the thoughts of others. And it encourages sharing of information. A very great example of parallel thinking is the six thinking hats method, which I'll be discussing in a few minutes. So basically, parallel thinking is when everybody's thinking together, but we have a same, processes to guide us. It's different from perceptual thinking. Perceptual thinking, what happens in that is कि हर कोई अपने अंदर से जो सोच रहा है, जो अपने thinking कर रहा है, अपने biases use करके, अपने whatever judgment use करके is given an answer. But parallel thinking is like let's say a teacher has guided you that you have to think in this flow only. So how do you generate ideas through that? It prompts a group to pool all of their ideas rather than defending one point of view. So I'll be discussing six thinking hats, which I think are very, very important, and they are personally my favorite. And this is how I go about solving any problems or any issue that I might have at work. And I encourage my teammates, I encourage my workforce to actually apply this thing, and it actually gives a lot of good results. So it's a very practical way. Six thinking has a very practical way of carrying out parallel thinking. Like what is your instinctive approach to decision making? Agar aap naturally optimistic ho, the chances are that you don't always consider the negative outcomes. Similarly, if you are very cautious and if you're very proactive and if you're a very risk averse individual, you might not focus on opportunities that a solution may give you, that could open up. Often the best decisions come from changing the way we think, respecting other people's opinion, as well as examining them from different viewpoints. This is why it's very important that you conduct six thinking hats method in your team. It forces us to move outside our habitual way of thinking, to look at things from a number of different perspectives. And this allows us to get a more rounded view of the situation. What are the benefits of six thinking hats? We separate out thinking so we can do one thing at a time. We ask people to switch thinking from one mode to another. There are different modes इसके accordingly हम think करते हैं. We separate ego from performance. We expand from one dimensional to full color thinking. This is a very exhaustive way of thinking and an exhaustive way of finding solutions. And this is very empowering also. It encourages cooperation. It encourages collaboration. It definitely reduces conflicts because now everybody is bringing up the solutions from the same point of view. इसके अंदर point of view हमारे change होते रहते हैं. And this definitely gives us a lot of creative and a lot of rational जो हमें चाहिए होते हैं. A solution should always be creative as well as rational. So it does wonder for that. So let's go to the first hat. It's called white hat. White hat, delves from what information is available and what is needed. It's a very neutral and objective way of thinking. If you put on your white hat, you look at the numbers, you look at the data, you look at the metrics, you look at the charts, you look at what information is out there. You look at if a plus b equal to c or not. आप सारी mathematics करते हैं. आप पूछते हैं कि हमें क्या पता है, what we don't know, what we know, what do we need to know. And this does not include any of your personal recommendations or your personal any sort of judgments or opinions. It removes feelings and impressions. We'll just look at the available data. That's it. We look for gaps in the knowledge. We try to fill them up one way or the other. Second one is the red hat. How do you describe red hat? This means that I feel this is the right decision for everybody. This is a good decision for everybody. So red hat means intuition and feelings. So now the mode has been switched from white hat to red hat. So do not involve any white hat solutions now. हमने list बना ली solutions during the white hat. Now we have to make a list of solutions during the red hat, which means intuition and feelings. इसके अंदर वो बंदे के emotions, feelings, biases आते हैं. You include the hunches, intuitions, impressions. It doesn't have to be logical. It doesn't have to be consistent. You don't have to give any justifications, reasons, or basis for anything. All decisions are emotional in the end. Basically, this adds a feeling component to your thinking. Because a lot of times your thinking is not only your mind working, your brain working, but also your heart making those decisions for you. And that's a gut feeling. That's what wearing the red hat means. The gut reaction and the emotion. The other one is black hat, which means you have to be careful. You're always cautious. You wear that cautious hat. There are risks attached. You look at what are the potential problems that we might have. You look at how this solution. It's a very defensive way of thinking. आप logically इसमें negative सोचते हैं कि ये क्यों नहीं चलेगा. You list out the points कि why this won't work, why this would fail miserably. So आप potentially अपने plans को और अपने decision को इससे resilient कर रहे हैं. You make it more tougher. You're making it fail proof. You're critically judging. You do have pessimistic point of view. It separates logical negative from emotional. You focus on errors, evidence, conclusions. What if things go wrong? What if this fudges up? And it's logical and truthful, but not necessarily fair. It's again a way of thinking. How do you get out the fatal flaws in your decision, in your fatal flaws in your solutions? You know, the other one is yellow hat, which is always the best hat. Let's be positive. Whatever happens to the best. Its the point of view is totally opposite of that of black hat. Over here, you're more optimistic. You look at the benefits and the feasibility. You're very positive and you're very speculative. You're full of opportunity. You're full of growth. This yes or you do not consider all the negative aspects. You're just listing out what positive could come out of this. You look at the best case scenarios. You look at what the benefits are. So basically, it also allows you to just list down what all positive can come out with if we go with this particular solution. It helps us to keep going when everything looks gloomy and everything looks very difficult. So this is something it's like a ray of light at the end of the tunnel. The other one is green hat, which means let's create a solution for making the current situation better. So green hat involves a lot of creative thinking. इसमें हम alternatives देखते हैं, creative ideas देखते हैं, new ideas, concepts, perceptions. We deliberate, do the brainstorming part in it, creation of new ideas, and what are the alternatives? What are the more alternatives? If we don't go this way, how could we achieve this way using something else? So इसके अंदर it's just again brainstorming हम इसमें करते हैं. It's a generative process. It's a divergent way of thinking. So basically, all the process of thinking, जो मैंने आपको समझाया है, it comes down into the 6 thinking hats, and I think it's a very something a takeaway जो आप ले सकते हैं. It's just get this 6 thinking hats. किसी भी decision में अगर आप 6 thinking hats use करते हैं, and you spend let's say 1 to 2 hours on that decision, I guarantee you आपको एक solution मिलेगा. जो आपने ना भी सोचा वो जरूर मिलेगा, provided you have to have a team around you. So it's way of lateral thinking. It's a new approach to solve the problem, and it's a freewheeling way of thinking, in which there's little criticism of ideas. So this is what wearing a green hat is. Now this is the hat which, let's say, the CEO or the owner or the MD or the main partner, whatever, wears. He's like, okay, fine. Let's organize the thoughts, focus on the best option. We have to get it down. We have to get it down to the one solution. So it's called blue hat. This represents process control. Why we are here, what are we thinking about? What's the problem? What's happening? What are the negatives of this? What are the positives that we gain? What are the opportunities out there? What are the threats out there? Where we want to end up? And it's a plan of action. This is what a CEO wears, after listening to everything, so this is what needs to be done. And it's a great way because, whenever we need any contingency plan, we'll employ black hat thinking again. Whenever we need we are running out of ideas. We're running out of any creative ideas or anything. We'll employ green thinking on it. So it's blue hat is something is ahead of all the thinking processes. So now the last part of the slide is how do you attain this creativity? How to be more creative? As Vincent van Gogh said, if you hear a voice within you say that you cannot paint, then by all means go ahead, paint, and that voice will be silenced. Creativity inherent hoti hai. Every individual is born with that. You just have to uh, get to that level. You just have to grasp that. And there are different ways you could do that. If you're stuck in a rut, if you're stuck, just in your same surroundings, just go out. You'll have a different state of mind. Just go out with your friends, have a beer or something, and different state of mind aayega, and you'll be relaxed. And it's scientifically, it's mana jata hai that if you go to different settings, if you remove the situation from your head, let's say for a couple of hours, you come back to it, you definitely have a couple of new ideas. Put on your favorite song, which there's article bada chal raha binaural beats. You listen to that. These sound waves are actually associated with creative thinking. Research proves that it does work. For example, cows that listen to the very soothing music, they produce more milk. It's proven. And for example, the tempo of Baroque music or the tempo of binaural music is similar to the speed of the brain wave, which are associated with the creative thinking. So, sound waves do help a lot. Coffee is always a great idea, or beer if you might. As गर्मी है, so beer would definitely work to get your mind off of things. And just if you're stuck in solutions, for example, especially if you're a coder or if you are a computer person or whatnot, if you're stuck in same loop of problem and you can't decode it, you can't debunk it. You just have coffee or beer. Just change your surroundings. Other way, how I do it, I write on the problem. I try to ask different questions to get to that problem. Because getting the right question is halfway to solving the problem. Solve a Sudoku instead of play PUBG instead, whatever. You know, you just have to get your brain working in some other direction, and you just have to break the rut. Just think, put on a different kind of thinking hat. Be like, what would Stephen Fry do? If you can't solve the problem as you do it as someone else. Imagine that you're someone else, and you try to solve the problem. You have extra smarts here, and you try to solve it as them. Or what you could do is, you could deliberately come up with bad ideas. Maybe your standards are way too high. Maybe you have reached the end of that thinking, and you're still not giving up. Lower your standards, maybe just to get the ideas flowing, and then you can pick it up again. Again, maybe what you're searching for is just a library away, or maybe a Google search away. So just keep exploring your options. This is my personal favorite. I have an app. Whenever I'm in a fix, whenever I'm in a problem, whenever I am, stuck, in some decision-making process, I take a nap. They say that dreams are your brain's way of sorting out data. I think it works for me. Have a nap, let it go to work. You know, you can also draw a mind map. Map your thoughts. It's a great way of, um, seeing that you're exploring a lot of ideas, and you could come to a solution that you might not even have thought of, or just give up for the moment. If it's not working right now, don't push it. You're only gonna aggravate yourself. You're only gonna make yourself more, you say, sad and mad and grudgy about it. So it's all right. Don't push. Thank you, everybody. This is the end of my webinar. And
thank you so much,
thank you.
Sanchit, for a wonderful, wonderful webinar.
Thank you.
So it was actually very informative, and what all you discussed is actually need of the hour. So people need to think, they need to change the way they think, and they need to bring positivity in their life, day-to-day work. So with that, Sanchit, we'll start with the questions, I guess,
Yes.
right? So we have our first question is from Mr. Namit Kapoor. He's asking your
Mhm.
thoughts on thinking creative when you are down with stress.
I would say whenever you're down with stress, the number one thing that is bothering your head is the stress right now. You know, you have to de-stress yourself in order for yourself to do creative thinking. So, you can go out for a walk, you can go to the gym, you can, just try to de-stress yourself, maybe have a shower, maybe, pop up in a bottle. Uh, After that, you can come back to it. You don't have to stress too much of thinking creatively because that will never come. Creativity is just like, I would say an artist, creative block hota na jis tarah se, us tarah se. So it'll come very naturally. It comes very I would say naturally. So you don't have to force it. And then once you have de-stressed yourself, you can indulge in all these processes that I've told you about, and then it'll come. I think warm shower helps a lot. So definitely try that.
Yeah, that's really a great idea, I guess. So we'll move to the next question. It is from Sahib Preet. He is asking, what is the most effective way to brainstorm the actual work for you?
Brainstorm what?
What is the most effective way to brainstorm that actually worked for you?
I think the how I go about my situation is when I'm brainstorming, I do a lot of divergent thinking. I think of all the random possible solutions that can that will probably not work. उससे मजा आता है यानी फालतू के कोई सॉल्यूशंस कभी डाल डाल के सम उन फालतू के सॉल्यूशन से ही आपको आइडिया यूरेका आइडिया मिलता है ओ गॉड ऐसे भी हो सकता है भाई मैं बकवास नहीं कर रहा मैं कुछ सही बात की सो तो उस तरीके से ना आई डू अ लॉट ऑफ डाइवर्जेंट थिंकिंग एक ओपन फनल थिंकिंग करता हूँ उसके बाद मैं अपनी मैट्रिक्स सेट कर देता हूँ कि इफ इट्स गोना वर्क फॉर मी इज इट एक्सपेंसिव इट्स नॉट एक्सपेंसिव सो आई ट्राई टू सॉल्व द फंक्शन of it rather than कि मैं दिमाग में पहला solution ही लेके चलता that's how I do it. But there's different way you can do it. You can do the 6 hats method. You can do different methods. Whatever is easy for you, whatever is convenient for you.
Right. So we have our next question from Mr. Raghav Khanna. So he wants to know, what are the best ways to filter out thoughts since a lot of is going on mind simultaneously?
How to filter out the thoughts in your mind while
Because
thinking creatively?
lots of things are going in your mind simultaneously. Yeah.
I think, boy, again, that's related to somewhat of your mind being preoccupied, let's say with work, with thoughts, with stress, or whatnot. So, you don't have to force any idea. Even if you have preconceived notion, preconceived, or maybe preoccupation, your mind is preoccupied with different things, different tensions, different worries. आप क्या कर सकते हैं? You can list them out on a piece of paper so that now your mind knows कि चलो ठीक है मैंने ये सारी चीजें लिख दी हैं मैंने लिख दी हैं यहीं पे कहीं पे जा नहीं रही आई कैन गेट बैक टू इट एक से एक सबकॉन्शियस वे ऑफ टेलिंग योर माइंड कि ठहर जा थोड़ी देर I'm gonna change my surroundings. I'm gonna think about something totally different. I'm gonna watch a movie for let's say 30 minutes, or I'm gonna just go for a shower. उसके बाद I'm gonna come to it, and then I'll start thinking. Because now you have written all your worries and all your things that are bothering you on the side. You can always come back to it later. Mind इसलिए आपको remind कराता है कि आप घूमना जाओ. वो अगर हम साइड पे लिख लिया माइंड बुद्धू बन गया दिल तो बच्चा है वो बुद्धू बन जाता है
तो वही बेसिकली मतलब यू नीड अ ब्रेक अपने आप को किसी ना किसी तरफ से अपने अपने माइंड को डाइवर्ट कर दो so that you can think something else किसी और चीज के बारे में सोच सकते हो आपका मूड चेंज हो जाए and then you can come back to your work and start doing it.
I think food is the best answer. Zomato से कुछ मंगवा लो.
Yeah, and we Punjabis are very much into food. So good food can change our mind, I'm sure.
100%.
Yeah. So with that, Sanchit, we'll move to the next question. So Mr. Anurag Byala, he wants to know, there are moments when we actually feel low and don't have the same kind of energy to start or do something. What should be done on those days to stay creative?
I think, first of all, whenever you are thinking of, let's say, starting a brainstorming process or maybe uh, something of that sort, you should do that in the first quarter of a day. 100% will work. After that तो चलो ये drag है कि चलो खत्म करो मीटिंग को यार, खत्म करो, घर जाना कुछ करें यार, वो चीज़ है. Starting of the day में इसको करना चाहिए. You'll see the quality of solutions that you get. You'll see the quality of answers that you get to your problem. And this is what I would say, and this is how it does work as well. In all the corporate worlds and everything, all the main meetings जिसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग या फिर जिसमें कुछ सोल्यूशन ड्राइविंग चाहिए होती है, वो इट हैपेंस बिफोर नून. आफ्टर नून जो है, आफ्टर 12 o'clock इज जस्ट following up meetings or stuff like that. So basically आप divide कर लीजिए अपना day in different aspects according to your brain. कि मेरा माइंड इस फर्स्ट क्वार्टर में सबसे इसमें तो मैंने इसमें सारी मीटिंग्स करनी है, इसमें सारा क्रिएटिव काम करना है, उसके बाद मैंने फॉलो अप करना है, उसके बाद मैंने सारा पुराना काम कंप्लीट करना है, उसके बाद मैंने बस रिलैक्स करना है. So इस तरह से
मतलब basically it should be done, most productive काम जो है वो do it before lunch and after that you can continue जैसे importance कम है वैसे करते हो.
आफ्टर लंच आपकी एफिशिएंसी 30% रह जाती है. वो फिर डिनर का ध्यान.
Is it you get your stomach get full or you don't feel like working?
I think your stomach gets full. It signals your brain time to sleep.
Yeah,
ठीक है.
I'm
And
sure.
you wanna work also. पूरा दिन तो लग गया बस. I wanna just get done with it.
Yeah. So, we have a common question. How to procrastinate procrastination?
How to procrastinate procrastination? That's a good question.
Yeah.
I would say you just have to follow a set of rules to procrastinate procrastination. आपको एक पैशन ढूंढना चाहिए अपना. Something, I would say, अगर आप अपना वर्क प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट करते हैं, चलो इट्स फाइन, आपने वर्क प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट किया है, बट उसकी जगह पे you should do something creative. आप कुछ ऐसे कर लिए which is adding to you, so that your procrastination is not called procrastination, is rather called something else, ki something valuable has been added. For example, if I don't want to do my work, if I don't want to fill this Excel sheets and whatnot, I'll go play tennis. अब मैंने काम तो procrastinate किया है, बट वहां पे मैंने अपनी वो प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन नहीं, मैंने वहां पे अपनी हेल्थ भी अच्छी की है वो 1 घंटा. सो इफ यू डेवलप गुड हैबिट्स एंड डेवलप गुड हॉबीज, सो आपकी प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन जो है उसको आप एक तरह का प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट एक कंस्ट्रक्टिव वे में कर सकते हो. दैट्स माय टेक.
No, that's actually right, क्योंकि you cannot force yourself to work. आप creativity अपने आप को force करके नहीं निकाल सकते हो. उसके लिए आपका mind relax होना बहुत जरूरी है. Yeah, so
बिल्कुल. और अगर हम बहुत स्ट्रेस करते हैं कि मेरे को क्रिएटिव सोल्यूशन लाना है, तो कभी भी निकलेगा. क्रिएटिव सोल्यूशन आता है जब बैठे बैठे पिज्जा खा रहे हो ना, एक बाइट करते हो, यार ऐसे करते हैं, नहाते नहाते बहुत सोल्यूशन आते हैं क्रिएटिव.
हाँ, क्योंकि खाते हुए हमारा माइंड बहुत रिलैक्स होता है.
Exactly. And nahane waqt bhi also, when you have very fake conversations going on, every battle nahate हुए, every verbal battle आप जीतते हो. भाई मैं ऐसे बोलूँ, मैं ऐसे करूँ, it's totally so. And the solutions कि भाई नहाते नहाते याद आ गया कि भाई ऐसा कुछ कर सकते हैं हम, बड़ा अच्छा, so मैं तो कहूँगा भाई नहा लो.
हाँ, और उसके अंदर you tend to bath for a longer time then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's also a point.
Yeah. So we don't have more questions right now, Sanchit. So I would request you to tell us a little about your journey, how you, I mean, आपको आप किस तरह से आप करते हो अपने आप को, because I remember we guys met once, and उसके अंदर you were telling you have started a project जो आप on which you are working right now. So little about your company, what exactly you do and all that things would be a great.
So basically, we started this company. This is a very new greenfield company, and I've been working on this for past 18 to 20 months. And basically, what we have started is we have seen in all the other industries, disruption has happened. People don't do the same way of don't usually practice the same way of doing things how they used to do, let's say 5 years back. Tech industry to proper disrupted ho gaya, food delivery भी disrupted ho chuka hai, everything has been disrupted. Even the medicines and all these things, they are also at the verge of disruption. They are delivery logistic to disrupted ho chuka hua hai. But how they say that we are gonna insert some microchips in you and whatnot that will automatically take care of you whatnot. It's at the verge of disruption. But there's one industry which was always very traditional, and it's a construction industry. It hasn't changed since the Romans. It hasn't changed even before that. So it stays constant. You use the same raw materials. You use the same binding material. You use the same way of constructing things. So इसके अंदर disruption नहीं आ रहा. Design आ रहे हैं, architecture में सब कुछ आ रहा है, but the way of construction में कुछ नहीं आ रहा. So this was my take on it, because since I did civil engineering, and this was the only engineering that made sense to me. If I was not a civil engineer, I would have been to hotel management. I would have even from a university application, I just selected civil engineering. If no other engineering is possible, probably don't select me. So because that makes sense to me, and I wanted to do some disruption in that way and bring something into let's say India, Punjab, that actually is a pioneer of making things. So what we do at Unibrick Industries is we have a fully automatic German concrete plant, and we make uh, different kind of structure units. We make cement bricks. We make fly ash bricks. Fly ash. We basically, it's a net zero carbon content of this, and इसके अंदर it's a very great way of constructing your things because it's very lightweight. Dead load कम करती है आपकी building के ऊपर, and also it's a waste product from coal plants and whatnot. So it's a white industry, net zero waste. इसके अंदर pollution है. And then again we make pavers, interlocking paving stones, concrete blocks, curbstones. So this was my idea of bringing this fine piece of German excellence in Amritsar, because India में landscaping तो चलो ठीक है, it's doing good, but there's no concept of hardscaping. And doing with pavers, doing with all these let's say Roman looking stones and cobblestones and everything. This is hardscaping, and Western world is full of that, and we don't have a necessary environment for that. So I just brought this technology and want to be pioneer in this, to make way for other people to follow as well, and actually create a niche for ourselves and create a hardscape industry in India.
Well, that's great actually. I mean, this is something innovative what you are doing. And this is the first time I'm hearing about it. So with that, thank you so much, Sanchit, for taking out time for us and giving us such a wonderful and positive webinar. So with that, I would like to tell little about Amritsar Founders before we end. So guys, Amritsar Founder Association was founded with a view to promote high standards of business behavior based on ethical values and international work culture. Our mission is to empower young entrepreneurs, grow their ideas, generate employment, and organize market clutter for a holistic progress of standalone enterprises. So guys, our next webinar is on Friday, that is 26th of June. Time will be same 7 p.m. And the next webinar is going to be very interesting क्योंकि हम लोगों ने एक NGO के साथ tie up किया है. Everybody I'm sure knows about it, Voice of Animals. Its complete name is Positivity Sanctuary, Voice of Animals. So they will be telling us about how they started, because they started from scratch and what all challenges they faced, and they have grown a lot. So the topic of the webinar is saving lives through positivity by Positivity Sanctuary, Voice of Animals. So I'll tell you, they have done a very creative work here. So instead of writing positivity, they have spelled it as PAW of an animal, positivity. So that's something creative. I'm sure you can relate with that, because this is what your webinar was about, creativity and everything. I'm sure, yes. Sanchit, you can relate with that, right? So guys, I hope to see you everybody on next Friday. And we'll be live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our all other channels. So with this, I would like to end the webinar. Thank you so much, Sanchit, for taking out time for us again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me.